Yeah, it's your boy, your Taicho, all armored up and taking arm against Vinland Saga fans this time. So gather around my Weeblet. Scream my Weeblets. We must charge in once more to a suicidal battle. I swear I'll hang myself doing this shit someday. I know you all must be infuriated at the title, but it's just clickbait, so chill out! Though the point I wanna get to is quite similar. Now I ended up in a weird argument with a friend of mine who, well, me and my wee friend diagnosed it with a rare but deadly disease called shittis. That argument was he disliked Vinland Saga cause, well, Thorfinn is seemingly indestructible and Eskachat does not kill him, therefore the story is childish and naive. Now I totally disagree with his point, but as someone who is up to date with both manga and the anime, I can see why people with similar mindset, all jokes of shittis aside, it's all because of shittis, will come to hate it. The story does get a lot more naive in the manga, especially later on, but it does that way on purpose. That being said, I like to reference a book called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And even if I'm not, I don't give a shit. Just kidding, she's one of my favorite authors. Now in her book, she points out there being two kinds of mindset. First being the fixed mindset, which in my opinion people like a certain friend has. And then there's the growth mindset. Damn it, your boy become a book reviewer now. Subscribe if you're a brainiac. Anywho, according to the book, there's this distinguishing feature about people with a fixed mindset that a mistake means something is broken, or in other words, beyond repair to them. If something isn't perfect at birth, it can never be more than just a flawed version of itself. And in this case, when I gave him examples of anime characters that also didn't die in harsh, seemingly dire situations that he liked and respected, he went on straight and said, all anime is childish and bad. Yeah, I know, shit taste. It's deadly. Now this saddens me to my core because I know there are a lot of people who judge anime in general and especially Vinland Saga not for what the story truly is but for its fame as one of the best manga matching the likes of Berserk. So every aspect should be as they wanted or as close to reality of their headcanon as possible instead of seeing it in the light that the creator wanted it to be. Now, bringing back my point from the title of the video, people like this will surely come to hate Vinland Saga as the story progresses after the first season of the anime, so spoiler warning for all you crybabies. Just kidding, I hate spoilers also, but this is a series on chapter review of Vinland Saga, post the events of anime. The main point of doing this series is because I too don't like some things that happened in the manga later on that changed the way I thought the story will be proceeded. But as I said, it's the choice of the creator how he wants his story told. So I'll start with a few events that happen in the anime that I think most people will realize only while rewatching or reading the manga beyond the anime. But first, let me give you all a little heads up for what I meant when I say perspective of how we portray the story will be proceeded will change. So until the events in the anime, it is a serious revenge story / character development of our main cast, where serious is the word to remember. In later events in the manga, it changes into a light comedy and slice of life story with, well, sometimes even our characters getting a bit of plot armor. But the amazing thing is, this does not happen suddenly, as Yukimura slowly takes the seriousness of the story and with great care shifts the entire genre of the story to the point that I didn't even notice that it turned into a more of a comedy than a bloodbath until I rewatched the anime. Now he does all of that while still handling all of its gore and serious aspect to the fullest. Well, most of the time. That brings me back to the time while I was rewatching the anime and I noticed what potentially is some of the best foreshadowing in all of anime. Now in the starting 3 episodes when Escalade corners Thor and asks him to be his leader, well, it was no mere coincidence. He saw Artorius, the legendary hero his mother talked about to him, but until that point he has debunked the whole idea of someone like a hero to ever exist. And at that moment you can see the sadness and hope in his eyes. for a thing he longed for and can never achieve. Also, I'd like to mention in the very last scene of the anime, there's an anime only scene, not in the manga, which shows a woman walking on a mountain with an old man, a little girl standing near a sea, and a raft with a man focusing on a guy with a brown hair. Now these are the characters that accompany Thorfinn into the post-anime part of the story, and it was so amazing to see their younger self. I bet who have read the manga and are reading the manga can agree on this. So for the first character shown, the woman walking up with an old guy, she's one of the victims of Escaland's village raids, and her father was killed by Thorfinn, and he there says a certain dialogue that I won't be spoiling right now. Just wait for the epic reveal when the chapter hits ya. It's one hell of a orgasmic part of the story. All I must say is she becomes a hunter to hunt Thorfinn, because what he said. The second character shown is a little girl in front of the sea. Well, she wanna sail out to sea with Leif, but he never takes her cause women ain't supposed to do that. You should learn a thing or two from Kazuma. Also, major spoiler, but I bet you all see this coming. She's best girl. And you know, this is anime, and when you tell a main cast character that they can do shice, they'll do that shice no matter what. This is also one of those things I said that the story will lose its grip on reality. Cause the last time I checked, Vikings ain't following gender equality. But as I said earlier, you will see in the chapter reviews it's so swiftly transisted that you won't even notice it. The third character shown is a slave who works with Thorfinn when we meet him in the story, and they sort of become gay. Okay, just kidding. They get a bromance going and shiz like Boku no Pico. Yeah, it's a Fujoshi heaven. So the story after the anime begins 8 years later when, because of hurting Prince Kant, and yes, that should be his actual name. Honestly, I've never seen such a crybaby in my life. Freaking Sakura cries less. So yeah, for scratching his face, Thorfinn is sold off as a slave to a merchant who gives him a space in his farm and tells him to grow crops and sell them so that he can buy his freedom back. And remember I was talking about the third character? Well, it's still about him. I bet you all forget. Anyway, that dude earlier is also a slave bought by the same merchant, and he was given the same place as Thorfinn so both could buy their freedom back. And so begins their bromance.